Jamar.
What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is boy Jamar 4 here once again.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamar 4 here once again, and we are back once again. Hopefully we can be back on a consistent schedule now that I've sort of smoothed some things out. So yeah, we're actually back to bringing a new series. This is actually for just Lauryn, the spinoff series for, well, I guess it's a spinoff of Chasing Atlanta, but it's an additional to the Chasing Reality franchise. Lauryn is going out on her own. She has this new show that's going to be just about her life, her transition, and, you know, her journey, so to speak. And I had the pleasure of being invited to her event where it was a premiere party. That's what it was. It was the premiere party, and that was the event where y'all saw me in like that black gown with the bun. Super dope. Lots of great, amazing people there. We got to walk the red carpet, do a little interview by the host, which was really great. Thank you so much for Lauryn for the invitation. And thus far, I have really been enjoying the show. I know I missed last week, but we're gonna catch up and we're gonna keep going for the rest of these weeks, okay? So, the episode opens up where the last one left off, where her and her friend Devin were sort of hashing out their differences or hashing out why they sort of broken off from the friendship as of recently. But at the end of the day, it really kind of just felt like a miscommunication. Like, you know, a lot of us, as when we have friends, when we grow older, we sometimes just, you know, have spats just based on, you know, miscommunication and things getting taken out of context, and just from how they explained it, that's pretty much what it was. And there's always going to be love there, and they ended up making up, which is good because I knew that he was going to be a part of the show. And it was like, since this isn't necessarily like an ensemble cast per se, it's not like trying to highlight multiple storylines, it's mainly just Lauryn's. If he was going to be a part of the show, it's going to be strange for them to be like at it the whole time. I thought that was, so I'm glad they were able to make up. And once they made up, I don't know how Lauryn got to this point, but she was pulling dildos out of people's bathrooms. And I'm like, no, Lauryn, you can't just be going there pulling people's private stuff out their private place. You know, that is something that people use for their, you know, their me time, you know? But I mean, her friend didn't seem like he was too bothered by it. He was like, it is what it is. So we move on to Jay and is doing Lauryn's makeup, and they're pretty much just talking about this Miami trip that they want to take and how she wants to invite this new guy. I think his name is Deandrin. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but she wants to invite him. They're good friends. And just the premise of it, it looks like her friend Jay, the makeup artist, isn't necessarily too fond of the idea that there's gonna be more people coming to this Miami trip, because he thought it was just gonna be like, you know, him, Lauryn, and their other friend Barbie as like, you know, the three amigos or three musketeers, whichever one you want to call them. And you bring in this new person that he may not be too familiar with. He might like be, you know, a little apprehensive about him being there, but we gonna see. That's just how they try to, you know, set this up. Now, this next scene is with Lauryn and her friend Devin and her other friend, I think their name was Marquise. You know, they're out bowling, having a good time. And what I thought was very interesting is Lauryn talked about how Marquise was her first girlfriend in, well, I don't know, grade school. I forget if they said what grade it was. But they were like going to prom. They had all these different pictures and whatnot. And now Marquise is kind of giving me like stud tease. You know, I don't know if they are, you know, consider themselves a lesbian or, you know, whatever that may be. But you could tell that back then when, you know, they were with Jaylon, they were still very feminine presenting. And so now, like, she's coming with like the snapback and the t-shirt, you know, a little bit more masculine. And of course, you know, Lauryn transition. And it was so crazy because it reminded me a lot of me and my good friend, which who we grew up together. And they kind of came out as a lesbian initially when we grew up, and we always knew that we were queer, but we just never really said it until we got to our adulthood, and we were just like, Because our parents tried to make us date, and it was just never going to be a thing. We always knew that we were queer and we were never going to be into each other like that. But now they've come out as like non-binary. You know, they have a female partner, but it was just so interesting how somebody else had a situation where they were like supposed to be dating when they were younger, and then they grew up into their true authentic selves, and it's kind of like, girl, we just best friends. Like, it's just so funny to me. But anyway, she is talking with her friend about how she's afraid of her sort of dealing with her transition with her parents. You know, she's already sort of mentioned it or had the conversation mildly with her father, but her mother hasn't come on screen yet and said anything about it. We haven't seen her and her take, and she seems to be the most concerned with her mom and what she thinks about the transition, and she's gonna like kick her out, if he's gonna like disown her, and you know, all these other things. And this is you know, it's so interesting how there's all the members of the LGBT community, and you know how we all are different. We still share a similar experience of being so deathly afraid of like how our parents or our mentors or whomever our, you know, guardians are. We're so, you know, scared and terrified of how they're going to accept us as who we are, because more often than not, they're not what they would have thought we were going to be. And, you know, some people are not as open-minded as others. So, and I feel like we still want to please them, want them to make them proud. We want to feel accepted. We want to feel comfortable in their presence. But not everybody has that. And, you know, we hear a lot of horror stories about people being, you know, ostracized and, you know, kicked out of their homes and disowned and all things like that. And so we just never want to be that person. So it's so, you know, interesting how we can watch people of the queer community have like that similar experience, and we can all relate to it. So I thought that was really, really dope. And she wants to actually have a funeral for Jaylon, her dead name. So I'm like, I mean, if it's like a mental thing, of course, you know, she's not actually dying, but she's trying to dead the person that her family have known her to be this entire time. And I don't, I mean, a funeral might be, I don't know, some people may call it drastic, but I don't know how, because I feel like there's already a obstacle, I would guess, or I would call it, when you're trying to be a male and you just come out as gay, especially in the Black community. Transitioning into a trans woman is completely different, because you have to accept the queerness and the transition into a different gender. With, you know, it's already hard enough for the, you know, the Black community to accept queerness as a whole. Then you have to add the transness on top of it, and switching the names and the pronouns and, you know, the whole look. And they're just so apprehensive to it, where I feel like our generation, we grew up with a lot of queerness, a lot more than the previous generation did. So for us, it's a lot easier. We see it, we recognize it, and we just, you know, say what it is. But, you know, for our parents, it's just like, it's gonna be hard to watch her have these conversations with like her elders, her aunts, her mom, and watch them like justify like going to see if she can go get help, or going to seek therapy, and are you sure that you don't want to do this and go to the point of no return? Like, it's just gonna be really just triggering in my mind. So I'm just like, I hope this funeral, I'm interested to see how this funeral turns out, if she's able to execute it the way that she wants to. So I'm excited to see that. Probably one of my favorite scenes was Lauryn going to go see Tawanda, and I love Tawanda. I really do miss the Braxton Family Values. Like, that was a really, really dope reality show, like when it was back in its prime. I really do miss that show. But she's going and she's talking about, you know, catching her up on the past relationship. She speaks on how her past relationship really, really broke her down, and she's really been able to build herself back up. Great lessons learned, though, so that's always great. And when she talks about how she wants to get into music, and, you know, Tawanda's comes from one of the biggest musical families that we know, especially in our culture, the Braxtons. And so she kind of asked him to like low-key audition. Now, Lauryn starts with this song. I don't know if it's a new song that she's been currently writing or working on, but it was not it. You could tell that she was shaky. You could tell that she was not comfortable with it in that moment. But then she was like, well, I actually have this other song that's been really popular and rotating, like my breakout song called Funny. And then when she started singing that, it sounded so much more natural. Like she sounded confident, like she was actually enjoying singing what she's in and singing what she was singing. And Tawanda was like, yes, that's it. That's what you need. And when it comes to singing, because I know it is for me too, like it's fairly new to where you have to build that confidence that you know, sometimes you're not even gonna sound all that great. Even the people that we love and we stand and we, you know, go up for musically have bad days. So those of us thinking that we want to try to just, you know, express ourselves with singing, feel like we have to be on all the time, it's too much pressure. It's not realistic. So getting out of our own way was the lesson that I took from that scene. And she got Tawanda the great bob. Of course, you know, Jay was doing the makeup. She looks great. And it was a great scene. I really enjoyed it. I love seeing Tawanda on screen. So lastly is this scene with her and her friend, I guess, Treasure. So of course Jay is doing the makeup again. And I guess Lauryn wanted to confront her because on the set of her music video, I guess Treasure was being extra, like she got her stuff done and she was just running worried about taking pictures and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, so let's see, we have an idea of how you felt about it, why you were upset about it. Let's hear what she has to say. And so Treasure basically was like, you know, you say that you booked me for this shoot, even though you didn't pay me, but you book other people and you pay them. So I'm thinking like she had an issue like, well, why can't I earn some money? It's like, okay. This was the part that was the most like, I guess, controversial or whatnot, because they was having this whole issue about when you started to transition, we didn't really hang out as much, and then the video thing happened and we kind of fell out about that. But Lauryn has said, well, you never really invite me to like the straight clubs. And Treasure said something very interesting. It was like, well, I don't want you to get beat up when they find out that, you know, you're not like all the other girls, essentially. And in one hand, I was like, damn, that was really offensive. Because he's like, what you mean? You're acting me like, you're treating me like an other, like I can't go into, you know, straight spaces. But at the same time, I do understand her concern because, you know, trans women are, you know, targeted, especially in spaces like that, where if they like you and that they figure out one way or another that you know, were born a male, and they might decide to attack you, they might decide to follow you. And I feel like as another female, she knows that she would not be able to, or she may not be able or comfortable to defend you should you get in that type of situation. So she is thinking like, I don't even want to put you in that kind of situation. So, but on one hand, it's kind of like, you got to give me the chance to at least, you know, not feel ostracized. So I definitely understood where both sides are coming from, and I think it opens up a great dialogue. But yeah, I think that was pretty much the episode. These are like really short, sweet, straight to the point, little cute scene here, scene there. And I'm really enjoying the show. I appreciate Lauryn for reaching out to me for the premiere of the event. She asked me to definitely do reviews for her show, so I hope she enjoys this one. Can't wait to continue to watch the show. She's doing a great job. So proud of her and all her success. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time for, I guess we'll try to do the Chasing Dallas episode 7. Because I've just been kind of watching it, kind of trying to figure out some of the behind the scenes stuff. Also, if you guys are watching this, make sure you guys go check out Scotty's channel on Mr. Still Standing, where he and I did the prelude and we interviewed Trey Howard from Chasing Dallas. Really great interview. So much fun shade thrown over there, so make sure I go check that out. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time for the Chasing Dallas video. Bye guys.
Like, share, subscribe.
Washington.